Palma may be known for its glamorous open day boats, but behind me here is one of the best ocean-going craft I think I've probably ever seen. This is the Fleming 60, and it is quite exceptional in terms of the specification, the engineering, and the build quality. So we're going to take a full tour and explain exactly what makes it so special. My name is Hugo Andreae, you're watching Motorboat and Yachting. Let's go and tour it. Now, the Fleming yard have a peerless reputation for their engineering integrity and the quality of build. It's an American brand, but they're actually built in Taiwan to an exceptional standard. Now, this is the 60. It started life as the 58. It uses the same hull, but a slightly different deck layout and design to create a bit more usability, particularly around this aft deck area. So the transom has come back a couple of feet, about 500 mil. You still get a fixed platform here. There's a deck locker on there, handy for sort of storing lines, fenders and so on, and a passerelle fitted to this one. And this is also an extremely high spec boat with pretty much every single option on board. So once you're in the cockpit area, you can see there is a gate leading out to the transom, and straight away you can see the size and the depth and integrity of the mouldings and hinges. Everything is really, really heavy duty. Even the sort of mooring gear. Now, this is what they call a California deck, so it's a slightly raised cockpit area, gives you a bit more seating area space. We've got a good big table here, a little bit elevated, so you have lovely views out, but you still get that easy walk around aft deck, but just a bit more moulded in furniture, a bit more leisure oriented perhaps. Good sized dining table here. Sink here with a wet bar and a fridge. We've also got a twin disc operating helm station from here, and I'll talk a little bit more about how all that works, but it means you have got, particularly for here in the Mediterranean, you've got that stern two berthing option. We still have walk around decks. One of the key features of these Flemings is just how safe and easy they are to move around. So you can see you've got a really high freeboard, really wide decks. This is a nice little extra option too, just these little side gates. So if you're into a bit of a head sea and it's getting a bit wet, then you can close those up, and it just makes it that much calmer and quieter in this cockpit area, because it means you haven't got the wind blowing along these decks. Now, they are seriously robust boats. They have semi-displacement hulls. They will cope with any sea state. They're a category A rated. They have a huge range. I'll talk a bit more about that, but a 2,000 nautical mile range. We've got grab rails absolutely everywhere you go. You can see alongside me here, fenders, cleats, fair leads, more grab rails as you come up the side deck here, a side door here, gate out to the pontoon if you need to, or the quayside, helm door here, and then another thing they're very well known for are these Portuguese bridges around the helm station. Again, just makes for very easy movement around the boat. We've got big storage lockers in there for covers and things, and even here you can see, so that gate closes up. And again, if you're in a big head sea, and you can see you've got a really tall raised prow that will just push through the seas, however rough it gets, however much water comes over the bow, again, that will help keep it on that side up in the bow area and drain straight out from there. Lovely big sunbed here. This again is an option. Most boats, most Flemings just have that left bare, but he's very sensibly put some cushions here and created a rather nice extra sunbed arrangement. Heavy duty anchoring gear. I mean, this is as high spec as it gets. We've got twin ultra anchors, full stainless steel chains, lockers either side. Here we've got controls for that anchor system, shore power cable. On this side we have a full deck shower system, and again, here's one of the little details. So it has both a freshwater and a saltwater shower system throughout the boat. So if you're cruising offshore for a long period of time, you don't have to use your precious freshwater supplies. You can use seawater to flush the loos and wash down the decks and so on. It's that level of thought and detail. These boats are designed to be used, and their owners use them as such. Grab rails everywhere you go around here. Very sort of traditional style helm bridge area, nice clean upright windscreens, another side door here. But let's go back down and we'll work our way through the boat from that cockpit area. Another one of these side doors here. Here there's a quite handy little storage area just for cleaning kit and so on, tucked under these stairs. And another nice touch that you don't see so much these days, we've got both an external ladder to the Flybridge and an internal one, so very easy access from inside or outside. But let's keep on moving through the boat because it gets more and more special. Right, twin sliding doors giving access into the saloon. And here you can start to see some of the softer touches that the yard does, and they build in wood absolutely beautifully. This is all solid teak, and I mean really solid, but very seaman-like. So every single drawer has a positive latch on it. Either there's a little button or you lift them to pull them out, but also some quite nice touches like these little backlit glass cupboards. This is all very much bespoke, custom built stuff, so you can pretty much ask what you want. This particular boat has full double glazing all the way around, so it's exceptionally quiet underway and very well insulated, so whether you're going cruising somewhere cold or somewhere hot, it stays the temperature you set it at. We have got a high-low TV here. I won't bother pulling it up, but in fact you can see it under here. But even this, beautifully built in, you can see with a little framework around it. Vents for all the air conditioning and cooling, blinds absolutely everywhere. Again, more vents up here. Grab rail down the middle of the saloon, so if you're in quite a big seaway, you've always got something to hold on to when you're moving around. More vents under there. You can see that is a high-low table, so that can be raised or lowered to create a sort of coffee table or more of a formal dining space. Really big, proper seagoing galley. So because of that U shape, it means you're nicely secure in there. You can, if the boat is moving around a bit, there's always something to hang on to, but also very, very well spec'd. We have, in fact, got twin ovens on this one. We've got one up here, we've got one down there. Proper retainers for your saucepans. They can be moved to adjust. Full Miele induction system. We have a waste disposal unit in the sink. We've got a dishwasher under here. All the sort of crockery and cutlery stores in here very securely. It is built for going to sea, and very wisely they've designed it in such a way that things won't move about. Coffee machine, wine cooler, fridge, big American style fridge. This is a Bosch but fridge freezer. Again, even heaves, you've got positive latches. I've been in a boat in a big sea and the fridge has burst open. That's not going to happen on this one. Other nice details, we've got a pull-out sort of pantry larder area in here. Look at that. No inch of space goes unused, but really practical, really seaman-like. That locks into position 2, and again a positive latch on that. And then up into the helm station. Now this has a door on it, so if you're cruising at night you can close the door and maintain your night vision in here. And one of the big wins of this 58 or 60 is this extra day heads that you've got on deck here. So you can see in here we've got a good size day heads, lots of natural light, sink, toilet, and even here, look at the floor there, beautiful teak and holly flooring, even in the day heads. And then the bridge itself, well, this is the command center of the yacht, and it really feels like that. 2 huge 24-inch Garmin screens. We have a full boning control system, so you can check the engines, you can go into the menu, you can check what the bilges are doing, light systems everywhere. If you go to sea, it'll tell you exactly what's open, what's closed, the little indicators will light up. So you've got full control of the entire yacht. But what they are particularly good at is building in redundancy and access to absolutely everything. So if anything goes down, if the electronics go down, you can, first of all, you've got all the breaker switches there, but then behind this, just check this out. Look inside there. You've got full access to all the electronics in there, and you can manually switch everything on and off if you need to. It is extraordinarily robust, practical, sensibly designed boat. Traditional ship's wheel, big STID captain's chair, full control of everything. You can see you can control the Garmin touchscreens from this control in the armrest. It is a twin disc control system. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get down to the engine room, but you've got twin disc gearboxes on the MAN engines. You have full hydraulic thrusters. They are 40 horsepower each, proportional hydraulic thrusters. You can absolutely move the boat on the spot, and you have a joystick control system with station hold. So you press that button, it will virtually lock the boat in position. You can then go out and put fenders and lines out if you're waiting for a lock or some such. But I'll describe a little bit more about that when we see the engine room. But even here, this whole thing is wrapped in a lovely teak frame. There are those big upright windows, so you've got fantastic visibility looking forward. They've all got blinds on them. Big speaker system built in. All of these, extra storage space. These have got what I call the lift and lock. So when you lift them, they open up and then they lock into position. They won't pull out again. So if you're in a sea, they won't move. Really nice little companion seating area here. There is also an extra infill that completes that gap there, so you can have a sort of pilot bunk. So if you're cruising at night and you have two people on watch, somebody can be grabbing a bit of kip in here, or you can use it during the daytime as this more kind of sociable seating area if you want to. Very much a sort of owner-operator boat. It tends to be bought and used by people who cruise it themselves. There is a crew cabin, and we'll have a look at that later, but most are owner-operator boats. Now, we've seen those two side doors, and very sensibly that's lined up with the side deck gate as well, and then drop down into the accommodation space. Again, really good handrail down this side, and access to absolutely everything. I told you there wasn't an inch of wasted space, and here, for example, just a little lift up panel, got access to all the pipe work, as well as some handy extra storage. Little opening hatch in there, another grab rail on the way down. And then a lobby area here leading forward to the VIP cabin. There's the third guest cabin in here, and then the main owner's suite. Now, one thing I want to point out while we're here, we've got laundry facilities. He's gone for a combined washer dryer. There is an option to have two separate ones if you want in a different location. And also a laundry bin. How sensible is that? So if you've got dirty washing, you can stick it away in there, and it's right next to the washing machine when you need to do the wash. And of course, this has the full beam suite, the master suite. On the 55, the owner's cabin is forward. On the 58 and the 60, you have this fabulous full beam mid cabin. And once again, it is just beautifully done out. Lovely detail work up here, and this sort of cornicing, lots of detail, lots of teak, different materials, sort of leather here, lovely curves, big bed, conventional kind of shape. There's no strange bends or curves. Masses of storage. This whole bed lifts up hydraulically. There's a big storage area under there. Storage all the way around. A kind of desk or dressing table type space here. There is a mirror under there if you want to do your makeup. Lots and lots of storage all the way around it. Two opening hatches, so you can get plenty of fresh air in here too. More storage. I won't open them all, but just wanted to make clear how much there is. But you think, well, you've got a fair few lockers, but check this out. A full walk-in wardrobe, shelving for all your shirts. We've got a couple of extra cushions in there, but shoes. We've even got a little Dyson Hoover in here. Really cool and lovely. So make sure we've got these little louvers so it can breathe. If you do have any damp clothing or anything, nothing is going to get musty or mouldy because there's plenty of air circulating through the boat. And of course, an ensuite bathroom. Very high spec once again. Full heated towel rails. That lovely teak and holly floor. Big Techna toilet. Sink, more storage behind all those mirrors. And a lovely big shower. Again, look at the stainless steel work here. There is not a flimsy thing on this boat. Everything feels absolutely rock solid. Nothing particularly fancy, but a good big shower, heavy duty glass. Plenty of headroom in here too, I should point out. I'm 6 foot, I've got about 4 inches above my head. And then moving forward through the boat, let's go and take a look at the VIP cabin first. Now the owner has gone for a slightly unusual fit out here because he's got a couple of extra little bunks for kids up above. Clearly you don't have to have those. Normally the standard sort of fit out is just the double bed underneath, but it does mean if you've got a large family you can have a couple of extra kids. Enormous amount of headroom up here. I can't even touch the roof up there, it's way, way up. But lots of light coming in through that deck hatch. More light, bit of fresh air coming through those opening portholes. Again, lovely louvered fronts to all the doors. We've got a load of bedding stuffed in there, but storage absolutely everywhere, around the bed, underneath the bed, both sides. Lovely detailing, that sort of teak framework around that hatch. And then coming back, this is not actually en suite. The second bathroom is shared. So the access is literally right next to the door, but it's technically not en suite. But then a really good sized bathroom in here too. Very similar kind of spec, heated towel rail, slightly smaller basin, exactly the same electric toilet, corner shower unit. Again, all that heavy duty glass and stainless steel. And then the third cabin is in here. Now, if you go for the separate washer dryer option, that would normally be behind this panel here, but he's gone for that combined one to free up more space in the third cabin. It does really work too. You've got plenty of floor space that normally this would sort of come out to here, so it just feel a little bit more enclosed, and opening it up like this gives you more storage, more room to breathe, gives you all these little lockers behind here and behind here. Twin bunks, you've got the lower one which is fixed and full size, again storage under the bed there, and this one rather cleverly is actually a pull-out system. So at the moment it's got, you can see the mattress is folded in half, but this just slides out manually, locks into place, you fold the cushion out. I won't do it now because I've only got one hand, but you get the idea that, oh, I can't quite push it into place, but you get the idea, the cushion folds out and then you've got a proper sized bunk. I haven't done that at all neatly, but hopefully you can see that if I had two hands, that would be very easily done. But I like the fact that if there is only one of you, you can have it like that. It's just a bit less in your face. You've got a bit more headroom. You can sit up in bed. Opening portholes too, and those lovely solid teak doors. Now look, there is more to see, and we still haven't got to the highlight, which is the engine room, and I promise you that is worth the wait. But first, let's go up to the fly deck. Now these are the internal stairs I told you, slightly shallower angle, so a bit more comfortable coming up here. Now it's not the largest Flybridge in the world for a 60-footer, but it's a really well thought out one. We've got another big STID seat here for the skipper, again with that built-in Garmin controls, another big ship's wheel, massive traditional compass up there, all the same controls that we've already seen at the lower helm. And this does have the optional hard top fitted, you can see above me here. Just provides a nice bit of shade. We've got an opening hatch or a couple of opening hatches if you need, but just provides a bit of shade up here. Got a bench on this side, a C-shaped dinette over here, all under that shade of that hard top. Nice reverse angle screen, so that should make sure any breeze that is coming over gets flipped up and over your heads. Couple of monster horns, very important. Let people know you're coming or arriving in style. And then this aft deck is reserved for tender storage, and get a really good sized tender. Again, for a boat of this length, this is a 3.9 meter high field rib, has an aluminium hull. You can see we've got a couple of kayaks down here either side. We've got a flight board, foiling board, and then a 440 kilo crane, which is quite powerful enough to lift this off, drop it over the side and into the sea. This is very much up for grabs. We've got some extra deck boxes installed up here, got a Kenyan grill, got a fridge underneath, little sink. See life raft storage here too. I think there's one on the other side too. There is just more deck storage, and a third helm station here. Again, it just means you can drive the boat from up here. Got the same twin disc joystick controls and the station hold system. Right, now it is time for things to get really exciting. So this is the way down to the cockpit direct from here. I'm going to have to spin around to negotiate that because it's a relatively steep ladder. But wait until you see what is down here in the engine room. So there is access, I should point out, you can access this through the crew cabin. There is a hatch in the deck there, but we are going to go down into the engine room through the cockpit hatch, and I might just have to take a cheat sheet with me too. There are so many things down here to remember that there's a danger I'll forget them if I don't. But look at that, and again, a handle exactly where you need it when you're going down the staircase and then into the engine room. So let's start quickly with the crew cabin whilst we're here. You can see, not the largest crew cabin in the world, it is only a 60-foot boat, let's remember, but we've got a single 2-metre berth in there. That does have a shutting door. I don't think you'd ever really want to shut that. There's the access onto the stern deck that I mentioned earlier. Got a small sink, pull-out shower, a loo, little bit of storage. That looks like the flight board in there, but there is a little locker in there, a bit more storage if you do have crew. Like I said, most people on this size of boat won't actually have that, but it's quite handy to have the option if you want to bring a skipper on board. There's also a technical space in here. Got access to, well, it's so full of storage at the moment, I can't really see what's behind there, but we've got some of the systems, the Victron Energy, and possibly some hydraulics in there by the looks of things. But let's come through into the engine bay proper, because this is where it gets really interesting. Now, first up, lots of, not quite standing headroom, but probably certainly 5.5 foot. So actually it is very nearly 6 foot. My head is just about touching, but relatively speaking, very well lit, plenty of space, good access all round both engines. Now these are twin MAN 800 horsepower engines, and they will give a top speed of around about 20 knots and a comfortable cruising speed of anywhere from about 8 to about sort of 15, 16 knots. But just look at the engineering on show here. So I mentioned those twin disc gearboxes. One of the reasons for those is that it allows a certain amount of slip, sort of clutch slip. So that gives you that very fine, precise control on those joystick controls. It means you can have the engines revving at idle, but just turn the propeller over at a couple of RPM or so. It gives very fine control. We have what is called a C-torque system, and that means that the entire shaft is encased in an oil-filled tube, and that makes it incredibly friction-free. It means you've got no stern glands. The shaft is protected almost all the way to the propeller. We also have a lithium-ion battery bank, and if you look here, you can see some of those stacked up. The reason for that is that it has 24-volt electric Humphrey stabilizing fins, so you can run those without having to run the generator off those lithium-ion batteries. So if you come into an anchorage, you can drop the hook and comfortably be stabilized for 2 or 3 hours, or even potentially overnight. We've also got an Onan generator, run the whole ship system off that if you do need it. We have full hydraulic thrusters, we've got full chiller units down here, you can see all of that, and that is not just for the accommodation. This whole engine space is actually air conditioned. You can see that down here, so if the engine is warm, you can still come down here. The whole place is air conditioned. We've got a proper commercial spec fuel polishing system, so you can see we've got redundancy filters. You can switch from one to the other on both of these engines. Here is the full fuel management, so you can shuttle fuel back and forth between the two tanks. There is a full reverso fuel polishing system, so you can literally polish the fuel as it goes from one tank to the next. And look at all the electronic systems. Everything is accessible, everything is beautifully labelled, everything is engineered to within an inch of its life. Even the toolbox has its own dedicated storage space. Right, let's go back on deck. Let's finish up our tour of the Fleming 60, sitting in the captain's chair in this wonderful bridge deck. Now, a couple of other figures you might want to know about. So fuel tank size, it carries 5,500 litres, and because at a displacement speed of 8 knots you are burning just 35 litres per hour, that is what gives that astonishing 2,000 nautical mile range. Now the hull is equally capable, it is category A rated, so it can take you pretty much anywhere you want in the world. Now there is one other figure you're going to want to know, and that is the price. And a boat like this, with the engineering and the build integrity that hopefully I've given you a good idea of, is not a cheap option. Prices start at 4.4 million US dollars. But certainly for me, this is one of the ultimate liveaboard boats. You've got the hull to do it, you've got the engineering to do it, you've got the build quality to do it. You could live on here for weeks, possibly even months at a time, and genuinely cruise the world. But I would like to know what you make of it. Is this the kind of boat that ticks your boxes? Do you think it's worth that kind of money? Please do let me know in the comments. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching.